started. What's up? How's everyone doing? It is Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time here. Good to see everyone. Okay, we're going to talk about musical puzzles today. I did a live stream about this probably 2 years ago or so, and we're going to talk about one of the things that I talked about during that. But this particular one, we're going to first talk about this Instagram post I posted yesterday, which was really, I called it a quick lesson, but it was really kind of an ear training test, and it was a particular musical puzzle or sequence that I wanted to see if people could figure out by ear. Now, for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, follow me at rickbeato1. Speaking of that, before I start, the discount code for the Beato Book Instagram YouTube transcription bundle, which is 685 pages, actually will include the thing from yesterday that I'm going to play you here, and has the circle of fifths that we're going to talk about today, which is actually on page 361. Discount code is RB912, today's date, RB912. So you get 50% off the discount code there. All right. Now, people ask me when I do my Instagram things what the background is behind it. People think I'm using a guitar effect, but I'm going to show you. What's up, Bobby Huff? Everybody subscribe to Bobby Huff, my dear friend, his YouTube channel. He just started it, and it's awesome. Okay, so this is this first, what I'll call a musical puzzle. For those of you that didn't watch this, there was a guy that actually figured it out named David, who I know, who's a great piano player up in Nashville. He was the first person to figure this out. But here's this thing. Check this out. I'll just play the audio. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Listen again. Okay, now I'm going to play just the backing track so you can hear what it is. It's actually just a synth pad. Listen. Okay, so my backing track sounds like Genesis, right? Okay, so what that is makes no sense. What this is just major triads moving down by half step with occasionally a ninth thrown in there. And this is a great warm-up exercise to learn your guitar neck or learn anything. Because David, who figured it out, I know David because he went to Vanderbilt and he was in a master class that I taught there. David has perfect pitch. And he said, oh, it's just major triads moving down by half steps. Okay, it starts on B. It's like. But I'm playing ascending line, okay? Now this thing is actually tabbed out in the transcription bundle. So I start out in B major here. But I don't do it in root position. I start with a fifth in the bass. But the whole idea for this to be an exercise to cover the neck is you start down in these low positions and you learn your arpeggios or your triads in all through the neck and how to connect them, okay? So I did B major. Oh. Then I went to B flat there. So I got B major to B flat major to A major there, right? There's A, so I'm going B, B flat, A, then I go to A flat there, okay? Then I add A flat, So that I did A flat add 9. The reason that I did this is to just kind of confuse the ear for a second so that people wouldn't be like, wait a minute, that's just triads moving. Just by adding that one extra note to the pattern, it kind of, it turns the pattern around. So I have 4 notes. Right? So I did. No, I did not. That's F sharp major, right? Then I did the F major. Exact same pattern again, transposed. So we started on B and then we're on F here. Well, everything's exactly the same. Then we're back to B major here. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing. So it is literally just a sequence. But the thing that confuses people, I think, is that, first of all, because there's the pad that's under that, the pad is going from B major to B flat sus4. So it's really going like this. Okay, and the reason that I did that was to just kind of confuse the ear a little bit. I'm going to play it for you one more time. Once again, discount code RB912. It's also for the ear training course, 30% off that, right? And this thing was really an ear training exercise to see if you could hear what that was. Okay, so I'm going to play it again. So listen for this motion, right? Just listen for this. Okay, it's going to be obvious now. Listen, check it out. Now, I purposely sped up and slowed down, and I bent some of the notes a little bit just to kind of make it sound kind of otherworldly, right? Where it wasn't so straight. I wanted it to sound even more kind of manic and confusing. But it's simply a musical puzzle, okay? That is confusing at first until you hear it. Then you hear it and you're like, oh, yeah, it's just major triads moving down by half steps. What confuses the ear is the fact that it ascends, right? So these are just different inversions of the triads. So I have the fifth in the bass, I have the fifth in the bass, but here, fifth, third root, third, then up to fifth. Then I went to the root there. I don't have enough frets. I did it on my PRS, which has 24 frets. I did it actually on purpose. It's really, really a cool pattern. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is something you should be able to recognize by ear. You should be able to say, okay, I recognize that pattern. Yeah, that's okay. That's just major triads. This is what the ear training part of it does, is just to hear that. You see, I'm actually moving different sets of strings. Okay, so I'm here, this A flat major, this inversion of G, that inversion of F sharp, that inversion of F. Okay. Okay, now, next thing I want to talk about, and this is another musical puzzle, is the circle of fifths. And this idea is related to the last video I just did about rhythm changes in Miles Davis. I did a video called the Picasso of modern music, but it's really about Miles Davis. And it's about the tune Rhythm Changes, or Olio, from the Relaxin' record, which came out in 1956. Now, Rhythm Changes uses a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, and then 2, 5 to the 4 chord, passing. Then the bridge goes to the cycle. And the cycle is D7, G7, C7, F7. That's what you call cycling there. Okay, so it's going around the circle of fifths and resolving. It's just the 5 to 1 to 5 to 1 to 5 to 1. It's really 5 to 5 to 5 to 5 to 5. Now, this is a great thing to practice, is the cycle. And if you go to page 361 on the Beato book, it has a series of exercises on how to play the cycle. Okay, this is what is in Bach's music. You'll hear Randy Rhoads play it. You'll hear Yngwie play it. You'll hear all different kinds of people will play it. Jazz players play the cycle. So here's the cycle. Let's say I start on C major. So what I'm doing here, I'm starting in C major, F or C7, resolving to the third of F7, resolving to B flat 7. So B flat 7, so it's C7, F7, B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat 7, F sharp 7, B7, E7, A7, D7, G7, and then back to C. Now, there's a series of patterns that I'm playing, and you can just do this. But if you get all these different patterns, like one of them is this. So here's C7 to the third of F7. Okay. So that... You're always resolving. Dean just asked this. Always resolving to the third from the flat 7. And the whole idea of this is to get you used to not only hearing those resolutions. It's hearing the that flat 7 to third resolution, which is the strongest resolution in music. Somebody just put here. Isn't that like a series of 2-5-1s? It's actually a series of 5-5-1s, or 5 to 5 to 5 to 5 to 5. Sounds like Bach, because that's sequences that Bach would use, right? So let's say I start on E major, right? Or E7. Oh. Very hard to do, to keep it going. But you should be able to play this. Once you learn all these different, there's about 7 or 8 different patterns that I'm playing, and they're all in my book. Once you get these, you can just keep going on and on and on and on. You should be able to, I once did it for 2 hours straight where I didn't make a mistake. Okay, but it's hard when I'm playing the guitar like this, because I normally hold the guitar like this. Okay, so E7, A7, D7, G7, C7. So you can just get going, put on the metronome, get faster and faster and faster and faster. Once again, this trains your ear, and that's the whole point of ear training, is to be able to recognize and hear these sequences and know what you're hearing when you're hearing it. So if you get my ear training course, these are the kind of things that you do right at the beginning. We go from intervals to learning to recognize triads, major, minor, diminished, augmented, suspended, Lydian triads. Once you can recognize those, okay, then you can start to, then we go into chord progressions. And this is part of the chord progressions, is to recognize these cadences like this. These would be called 5-to-1 cadences or secondary dominant cadences. Dominant to dominant to dominant to dominant to dominant, right? But it sounds like classical music when you hear it. And you learn your instrument. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be guitar. This can be any instrument, okay? You should be able to do this on any instrument. If I sit down at the piano, I can do this exact same thing, no problem. Why? Because I can hear what all the intervals are. You don't even need to be able to, you should just be able to hear it and then put your fingers in the right spot or practice it enough to where you can do that. That's the whole idea of this, okay? So that's a second, what I call musical puzzle. The next musical puzzle is a thing that I like to use for warm-ups, and this is a whole tone musical puzzle. This kind of sounds like prog rock. This is going to be like King Crimson or something, right? So I'm going to play a whole tone scale. So whole tone scale is just... That's a whole tone scale. It's just all whole steps. Whole, 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 whole. There's only two whole tone scales, G and A flat, A and B flat. I mean, that's it. It just, once you move up, it's, once you move up to the next one, to the 5th fret, then it's that's it. That's the only pattern. So here's the pattern. Once again, this is in my book. It's a 7 pattern that it starts out. That's the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the whole thing. So I'm going to move. I'm going to go. And I moved up a half step. So that's the pattern there. It's very, very cool, and it's a great warm-up. That moves down. There it is. And it will gradually move up the neck like that. It's hard to do when I'm setting the guitar like this. Let's play it like this. Well, now you can't see it. Sorry. Prog rock tune, right? It's kind of like Robert Fripp. Total King Crimson lick right there. That's actually honestly where I came up with the idea. It's basically kind of like what would be a King Crimson idea there. How many note pattern is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 9 note. It's a grouping of 9. Okay, so I didn't even realize that it's a grouping of 9. Somebody said move my camera down. Is that so you can see my other hand or something? Let's see here. Here, I'll play it again so you can see. I don't know if you can see both hands. Right? on and so forth, right? It's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. I'm not doing any sweeps. Billy, am I doing any sweeps? You're right, there are hammer-ons from nowhere. Billy said there's hammer-ons from nowhere in there, and I said, no, there's not. And then I realized that Billy is right. When hammer-ons from nowhere is just... Well, I'm not picking all those notes. I'm just hammering them really hard, but... And I'm just up and down picking, I think. Yeah, I'm up and down picking. For sure I am. For sure. Once again, the being able to recognize these things, being able to recognize the whole tone scale, or the circle of fifths, or triads moving in half steps like that. All these kind of things are things that you should be able to recognize by ear. And you want to be able to train your ear, because as you train your ear, you learn to figure out stuff without your instrument. And that's ultimately what that's the whole aim of relative pitch training. What you want to be able to do is you want to be able to take a note, and then once you have a reference tone, you should be able to hear anything and not only sound out a melody, but you should be able to play a melody that you hear, right? So whether you're trying to play, Mary Had a Little Lamb, or the Star Spangled Banner, or We Wish You a Merry Christmas, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to play, you should be able to sound out whatever the melody is. If it's a jazz tune, if it's, if you're trying to play Jimmy Page solo, whatever you're doing, that's the whole goal of ear training, okay, is to be able to transcribe things just by listening to them, right? I usually would spend, when I was beginning, I would say up until all the way through college, through my master's degree, I spent time on ear training every single day, honestly. I would, honestly, to every day when I come down to the studio, I do ear training. The first thing I do ear training. I do warm-ups, whatever it's going to be. It might be some of these sequences that I'm doing now. Like today, I did that. I started with the half steps moving downward. And this is really how I come up with these ideas, is that I try to figure out ways to learn the neck and just keep learning it over and over. Or I'll say D major, A major, C major, G major, B flat major, F major. Okay, so you should be able to do these things and know what they sound like. And I always practice common progressions. I like to practice things that are in progressions. If I'm practicing scales, I practice them to go over chord changes. Don't just practice scales mindlessly, playing harmonic minor scales as fast as you can, just the same patterns all over the neck. You have to do these things and learn them so that you can play music with them, okay? Because it doesn't matter if you can just rip on a harmonic minor scale or a major scale all over the neck. Can you play music with it? Meaning, can you actually play, if I'm playing 2, 5, 1. So I did A Dorian, D dominant diminished, G major, Okay, so I did the same thing. Then I went. Right? So I'm practicing my scales, but I'm actually playing them musically. And maybe I don't play them constantly. Maybe I do. Right? So I'm really thinking about practicing my scales, but I'm playing, I'm trying to play them in chord progressions always, because that's really the key. All right, so discount code RB912, 50% off the Beato book Instagram transcription bundle, 30% off my ear training course. And that's going to give you the ability to sound out these things, because that's really the key to being a great musician. The better your ear is, the quicker you can learn things. Period. There is no, if you were to say, okay, what's the one thing that you should practice every day? Ear training. You should practice every day, really. And then you work on these technical things here, but always think of playing them musically. Practice your scales in chord progressions. Practice your arpeggios in chord progressions, right? That's why this is right there. That's teaching you how to resolve dominant chords. Just practicing that. Once you have that stuff under your fingers and you come into sections and you're just, thank you, Nathaniel, you can instantly hear these kind of resolutions, right? It really will improve your playing more than anything. So practice your scales and progressions, practice your arpeggios and progressions, work on your ear training, and follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1, okay? That's where this stuff, I post every day on there as well. Many times I do these things, these quick lessons, and all these things are in my transcription bundle. If you guys buy it, you'll get all those. Just go back and look at the dates. I think, Billy, you put the dates on them, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy puts the dates on them, so you can go look them right up on my Instagram channel. They go back for months and months and months. The Instagram bundle with my Beato book is 685 pages, something like that. Follow Bobby Huff on YouTube also, my dear friend, who has a great new YouTube channel. Anyways, all right, you guys are the best. If you have any questions, leave them in the thing. Check out my Miles Davis video, which is doing really well now after I retitled it. I know jazz is kind of weird for some of you and everything, but I'm not going to stop making jazz videos, so get used to it. Robert, thank you so much. I built my channel on I'm worth my weight in plutonium. Plutonium's very heavy, I think, right? But I built my channel with improvisation videos, and the Miles video is called the Picasso of modern music, and it's actually a painting of Miles playing the trumpet that Miles painted on the thumbnail. So the thumbnail is not disconnected or anything. You have to know Miles's artwork to know that. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you.